Well, good evening. How are you guys tonight? Oh, come on, get up there. Oh, let me get this right up in front of me. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Adrian took you out to lunch at the beach. How nice is that? Hi, Linda. Hello, Tamara. Everybody, good evening and welcome to Story and Art. It is so good to be here. It's good to see you and to be set and ready. Mm, Bob made dinner already. Wonderful soup. And I have our story chosen. I have things set out. And I think I kind of feel together today, which is nice. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome, bucket fillers. If you are here seeing this for the first time, welcome. I call this group the Bucket Filler Brigade. Come to Story and Art, and I will attempt to fill your bucket with great stories and cheer and interesting things about the artwork or other people's artists' work, our own. And then you and guys in turn get to fill my bucket because this just brings me joy doing this. And then at the end, off you go out to start your week because this must be a Sunday show. And you can fill others' buckets all week. And yeah, so we're kind of the bucket filling brigade here to look at all things wonderful in the world of children's literature and the art around it and what it does for us as adults. Yeah, that's kind of a roundabout way. Wouldn't you say so, Linda and Tamara? Isn't that kind of what I'm doing? Linda can probably say it better than I can. My two lovely moderators that are here in the chat. Thank you so much. So yeah, we are here tonight, and on Sunday it is show and tell night. So um, artists in the group send in their things, and I get to share them. Comes from my old teaching days. So, but let's greet everybody. How are you guys doing? I hope your day has been great. Today, I went over to my friend Patty, who is running a bird bath making workshop, and my piece was leather dry, and I was putting designs on the interior. And I did a stupid thing. I grabbed it in the one way you're not supposed to grab it, which was the pincher proceeded to break it. So she tells me that there's no way to fix it, although we're going to attempt to. She's going to be doing some kintsugi, which is the Japanese method of fixing things that are broken with gold, but I'm not going to use gold because it's going to be an outdoor bird bath. I'm going to use something else. So I said, though, let's just keep it as the pieces are. So she's going to fire the pieces as they are. We'll see what happens. We'll try to put it back together. Oh, I could have done some texturing on the. Oh, well. And if not, it'll be a piece of yard art. And I'll make another one when I come back from watching the grandkids next week. So that was that. This morning I spent some time with my papermancy group, which was lots of fun about learning different kinds of folds and making things with your hands. And that was always a delight to do. So fun times. Yeah. Anyway, tonight I have let's see. Oh, Susan's here. Yay, Susan's here. How you doing? Welcome, Susan. Good to have you here. Yeah, it's always so fun. Um anyway, yes, my bird bath. It wouldn't be really something unless I broke it some way or another. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh, Paul is anyway. So tonight, we have a story. I called it Into the Hood. And if you saw the opening kind of thing, you probably figured out whose hood it is. Instead of Into the Woods, it's Into the Hood. and it's into the neighborhood. So I've got a great book tonight. And but until then, we have something else to share, and that is yay. Okay, so Tamara sent this email. Part of it, I pulled part of it in it. She says, with the fire. Now, for those of you who are watching after this and are not here on the live show, Tamara lives in Australia. Wildfires, terrible things happening. With the fires still fresh in her mind, which she'd just been able to come back from being evacuated from her home for a couple weeks, she's been thinking about the amount of leftover paper, cut collaged pieces, etc. That she has, and that's what was my thought, Tamara, when you had to leave your home. I thought, oh my gosh, she's got 30, 40 years of just artwork. She says, I've been busy working on my collage journal, so it's a little easier in case of fires. If there is a next time, I'll just have my journal's portfolio ready, I hope. She says, the first piece looks dark. I hope it shows up better on my side, which it did. And you've seen some of the other ones before and they have things added extra to them. They are now pasted in the collage journal. She says, I think I will put more effort into filling this journal ASAP. We had some rain and cooler weather, but there is more hot days to come. Snakes and fires. Do we really want to go through this again? I love living here, but it has become stressful after what we went through. Ugh. So that's her email to me. Now let's see if I can pull up her pictures and get rid of the email. There we go. Here's the first one. Collage journal that she did. I pull them in the order that they come on my email, so I'm not always sure if I get them in the right order. But this is gorgeous. See, taking those bits of paper that you have and collaging them into a collage journal and doing this is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I so enjoy this. Oh, they tie in so well. The one on the left is actually one of my favorite pieces that I've seen of yours in a while. Just the simplicity. The tree reminds me kind of a tree down on our beach. Yeah, exactly. Susan says, oh, yes, there. Oh, I so missed your beautiful work, Tamara. Yeah, exactly. So pretty. Then the next one, let's see, where am I? Here. And she has this in her collage journal. Again, this is that Zentangle kind of aspect to it I've seen then. And then you just take it up such a level. The piece on, oh gosh, look at the earrings are different on. They're just so gorgeous. What an I love the edging on the piece on the left too around that. And then this one, how it comes off of the page, the one on the right, how she starts off the page with just some things on her shoulder. And the part of her head, top of her head where it drifts into the border. Just your attention to detail, Tamara. You guys are probably might agree with me, maybe not, but one of the things I really love about Tamara's work is that every time I look at it, I can see something new, and I get a new feeling. And it's always something that's thoughtful, makes me think, or is good. And it's, yeah, Tamara speaks to our imagination. And way too cool on these. Yes, exactly. Exactly. They're just, oh, man, so wonderful. So wonderful. And then I think she has one more for me. Yes, here, this one. And then she did this one. This is just stunning. The heron, we have so many herons up here. They don't have pretty colors like that. We've got the great blue heron or gray herons too, and other things. We don't have the white ones up here, but we have these guys all over the place. But this is just, ah, every little bit of it. And this is a collage piece too, right? Yes. Collage. Yeah. Stole your heart. Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. Never predictable or boring. That's the beauty of Tamara's work. Exactly. I'm always, it's like I'm sitting here, because they evoke so much in me, and it's so hard to put into words. And sometimes I don't want to put it into words. I just want to feel it. I just want it to live in me, in that feeling. That's all I really want. I just want the feeling of that I get when I see Tamara's work just to live in me. Yes, exactly. I can't comment enough on how these pieces make me feel. It, I think, Tamara, if your work was put into a book, we could title the book Speechless or Breathless. Speechless and Breathless, I think. Yeah, exactly. There it is. It's always thought-provoking and evokes such a visceral response. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now for some completely different. So I'm working on. Whoa! Where are my little applauses going off? Stop! Why is it going on and on? Why is it going on and on? It's supposed to stop. Oh gosh, you guys, this is crazy. I can't get this thing to stop. Go back up to 10. And get that to stop. That's so funny. I don't know where it is. I can't tell where it is. Okay, let me go back. See if I can go back up here. All right, hang on. I can't figure out how to make this applause stop. This is too funny. Okay, let's go down here. See if I can set that. Okay, I got it to stop. Whew. All right. I jumped down there. Now if I go up here. Okay. That was freaky. couldn't figure out. It just kept going on and on and on. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to hit it again. So I'm in slug mode right now, you guys. It's back to slug season for my niece. And I've been sitting upstairs painting slugs in the evening. These are the one I have some done. This guy's just got the base coat on him. But I kind of gave you a little side camera too, so you can see them in another way. They can look at you like here. Um, so I'm just having a fun time with them this time. I think what's making them really fun is this stuff over here. I got these. They're an acrylic marker set by Artex, ARRTX. They're liquid ink and they're zero pumping, and they're a brush pen. So they look like this tip. Where is it? They're a brush tip pen, and you don't have to pump them, and they just like flow out so easily and they dry so quick. Like oh, you can't see me doing that. I'm just going over these lines a bit, and they're just great. Diane Anton had them on her channel. There are 60 colors. They don't blend, at least from what I don't. But they were just for doing this compared to using liquid acrylic and paintbrushes. These are just I'm just cruising through them, and they dry faster, and it's just a lot of fun. So they start out like this, just clay, an air dry clay, and different shapes and whatnot. So I get to paint them. So that's what I have been doing my art this week for fun recently, just goofing around with them. And then I got my photos done that are the dry pigment rub on the black infrared. Yep, slugfest. So the photos, I'll take pictures of those to show you next week, or probably. Bob got them framed today. They're going to go into a show for Two Waters, but anyway, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 done. I've got only about 20 more to go, maybe, for myself. The tarts are going to do some. I'll take them up to them tomorrow. I have till March 15th. If I do a slug a night, if I can just slug it out, oh gosh, just somebody smack me over the head for that I don't have a groaning sound, otherwise I would groan. Anyway, it's Slugfest coming, so I'm not going to hit the applause just because I'm afraid it'll get going again, and it's like somebody got into my sound effects tab and it just kind of went nuts. So I'm not risking it. Anyway. Yep, the slugs are back. Yeah. There they go. Anyway, off we go now on to the next step, which is story time. Oh my gosh. So we all probably grew up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And it was really fascinating, this book, to see it actually at the end of it goes into great depth of how the whole history of it. And this is the authorized picture book biography of thanks, Susan, for the applause. I love it. The authorized picture book biography of Fred Rogers. And it's just a really interesting way of presenting it. It's by Mark Cordell, Caldecott medalist. Illustrations are just spot on. They're not super, super complex. They are, um, they're outlined just enough and give just enough detail that it allows us each to fill in the blanks with our own memory and imagination from that time. Now, Tamara, I don't know if Mr. Rogers made it to Australia, but uh, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a staple on television here for years. It started in black and white. The first color one was in 1971, and it was on every day, and it went for I can't remember even when it went off. Maybe it'll tell us in the story, but it was just kind of what you grew up with, and it was a way that kids it was like equivalent of Sesame Street, but not so all over the place and not so jumping around. It was meant to be calm and a safe place for kids. So, what I have tonight for us is this book right here, Hello Neighbor: The Kind and Caring World of Mr. Rogers by Caldecott medalist Matthew Cordell. And let's see, there we go. It's our insides that make us who we are, that allow us to dream and wonder and feel for others. That's what's essential. That's what will always make the biggest difference in our world. Fred Rogers. Hello Neighbor: The Kind and Caring World of Mr. Rogers. Do you guys remember the train? Welcome to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Let me get this over here. Yeah. As you see, this is no ordinary neighborhood. It's the set for a television program, a children's television program that's connected with countless families since it was first broadcast nationally in 1968. There were many things that made it different from your neighborhood. There were actors, camera operators, musicians, stage sets, and puppets. It took a great deal of work and love to bring the neighborhood to life each day. And it all started by a man named Fred McFeely Rogers. Growing up near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Fred had many interests. He especially loved playing with puppets and music. He learned to play the piano at the age of 5. Fred playing his first piano. Fred's grandfather McFeely always said, "Freddie, you made this a special day just by being you." Fred's family was proud of his talents and encouraged him to study music and composition as he got older. Fred playing with his baby sister Elaine. Fred playing the piano grandmother McFeely bought him when he was 9 years old. Fred was shy and often lonely. He was sometimes bullied, but whimsy and imagination were helpful to him, and so was his faith. After college, he planned to become a minister, and years later, he did become a special kind of minister. But at this moment in his life, something unexpected happened. Oops, hang on. What happened there? Just making sure my sound. There we go. In those days, television was new and just beginning to become popular. And Fred didn't like what he saw. I saw people throwing pies in each other's faces and all kinds of demeaning behavior. And I thought, why is it being used in this way? This could be a wonderful tool for education. And so I said to my parents, I think maybe I'll go into television. So he went to work for National Broadcasting Company, NBC, in New York City to learn how television programs were made. At first, Fred simply ran errands and fetched things that were needed around the studio, and he learned a great deal. Best of all, he learned that connecting with younger viewers through children's television was what he loved the most. He has your hit parade show, the NBC Opera Theater, and the Gabby Hayes Show, the Children's Corner, Henrietta Pussycat. Fred moved back to Pittsburgh and began working on a television program for children. He continued to stay behind the scenes, but he took on a more creative role. Drawing on his own background in music, he wrote songs and created characters, returning to his childhood love of puppetry. The Children's Corner, Henrietta Pussycat, Daniel Striped Tiger, X the Owl, and King Friday the 13th. We all know those guys. As an adult, Fred remembered the wonder of childhood as well as the fears. He spent a lot of time studying and learning about children and about their needs and feelings. And in time, it became obvious to him that too much of children's television was no more than silly and flashy entertainment. Fred had a new mission: to create a very different kind of children's television program that spoke to its audience with respect and understanding. A program where Fred would perform as never before in front of the camera and speak directly to the audience. And he would simply be his honest self, curious and playful, attentive and compassionate. The greatest gift you can give is your honest self. On February 19th, 1968, Fred became a permanent resident of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when it premiered nationally on public television. And now, welcome back to the neighborhood. Fred began every episode by singing his welcoming song and changing into his comfortable cardigan, sweater, and sneakers. Let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Then a new idea, person, or place would be introduced. Just like in life, there were good times in the neighborhood, like visiting the circus or a neighborhood school. But there were difficult times too, like saying goodbye to a beloved pet. Fred understood that children have many feelings and interests, and all of them are worth mentioning and exploring. Here's some of the characters that he had: Mr. Neely, Betty Aberlin, Francois Clemens, Aubrey Roth, Chef Brockett. Fred realized that children were naturally curious about the world around them. So, as Mr. Rogers, he often took us out of his home to meet new people and discover new places. We found out how people make things and how workers do their job. Crayon factory, sneaker factory, toy ball factory, trumpet factory. We even met world famous artists in the neighborhood like Eric Carle, Yo Yo Ma, and Margaret Hamilton. Each day in the neighborhood, we spent time pretending when Trolley took us from Fred's television house to the neighborhood of make believe. Here in the neighborhood of make believe, an ensemble cast of puppets and people acted out a story about the subject introduced in the beginning of each episode. When Mr. Rogers visited a school, the neighborhood of make believe built a school. When we saw how people make crayons in his real neighborhood, the neighborhood of make believe held a coloring contest. So we have Grand Pierre, Queen Sarah Saturday, Handyman Nigiri, Prince Tuesday, Neighbor Aber, Miss uh, Prolificate, Cornflake S. Peccadilly, Robert Troll, Henrietta Pussycat, Mayor Maggie, X the Owl, Purple Panda, Lady Elaine Fairchilds, Lady Elaine Fairchilds, Elise Jean Platypus, Anna Platypus, Dr. Bill Platypus, Daniel Striped Tiger, and Lady Aberlin. Fred loved the expressive and connective nature of playing and listening to music. So lots of music was played throughout the neighborhood. A jazz trio played the background music throughout the program. And of course, each day in the neighborhood, Fred sang the songs he had composed. The Johnny Costa Trio. Throughout his career, Fred wrote hundreds of songs about the important things children feel and learn as they grow, like many ways to say I love you, what do you do with the mad that you feel, and it's you I like. It's you I like, every part of you, your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. It's you I like. Every visit to the neighborhood would end as it began. Mr. Rogers changed back into his jacket and dress shoes while singing his song of love and reassurance to let us know he would be back next time. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling you're growing inside. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we're friends. Fred played many roles in the making of more than 900 episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He wrote the scripts. He was a songwriter and singer, performer and puppeteer. He oversaw and approved what went on in every episode. Beyond his own contributions, he truly loved working with others. He respected and appreciated the talents and artistry of all who were involved in the creation of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And because of this, everyone felt connected to in a very sincere and personal way. Just like a real neighborhood. Just like yours. Let's see if I can get this to be bigger so I can actually read it. Oh, no. Um, hmm. It says that he was born in a small town, in March 29th in 1928, child of a very loving family. His career on TV began when he moved to New York. Goes through this. The Children's Corner, uh, and those other things. He died on February 27th of 2003 at the age of 74. But his legacy lives on. There's a cartoon now, Daniel Tiger, that's on that is an animated cartoon um, that's based off of Daniel Striped Tiger. So shows his Fred in the neighborhood cast, Fred in the trolley, on the neighborhood set, behind the scenes, the neighborhood of make believe, children visiting children in a Chicago school. Yeah, isn't it a beautifully written book? This was a visual glossary I thought was kind of cool that he had in this was always in the show. A traffic light flashed yellow at the beginning of each episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, providing viewers with a signal to slow down from time to time to take in the people and things happening around them. And then Jose Carey partnered with Fred on the children's Josie Carey partnered with Fred on the Children's Corner in his earliest days producing children's television. Josie was the host and primary performer, while Fred kept behind the scenes as puppeteer of characters like Daniel Striped Tiger and King Friday the 13th. 143, the number 143 was a favorite number of Fred as he translated it to the number of letters of each word in I Love You. He also made a point of weighing exactly 143 pounds for much of his adult life. Daniel Striped Tiger lives in a large grandfather clock. The face of his clock has no hands because in the neighborhood of make believe, we can pretend it's any time we like. This I thought was interesting. Fred Rogers once had an endearing meeting with Coco, the gorilla known and beloved around the world for her gentle spirit and understanding of American Sign Language. Coco the gorilla. Coco, a fan of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, saw Fred and cradled him in her massive arms. She even untied his shoelaces and took off his sneakers, just as she saw him do on television. One particular touching moment from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was when Fred welcomed into the program a boy he had met while traveling. Jeff Edringer joined Fred for a mostly unscripted segment where he spoke a bit about his disability, and together they sang It's You I Like. When Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood debuted in 1968, it was broadcast in black and white, and the first color episode aired in 1971. There was a fish tank in Mr. Rogers' television home. On many programs, he would delight in saying hello to the fish and feeding them. This I thought was funny. Once Fred's car was stolen. Mr. Rogers was so beloved that when word got out, the car was promptly returned to its spot with an anonymous note that read, "If we'd known it was yours, we never would have taken it." Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood opened with the camera overlooking a small model neighborhood. When Fred visited a new place in programs, new buildings would be added to the model for continuity. Fred Rogers was fluent in French, and he enjoyed providing the voice of grand-père, the French word for grandfather, to expose children to another language. And this is a note from the author that says, as a child of the late 70s and early 80s, I grew up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Even as a preschooler, I think I had a sense that Mr. Rogers and his television program were loving, sincere, and creative in ways that were different from anything else on TV. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And it says, so anyway, where to watch? Huh. Isn't that great? Hi. Well, hello, Caroline. You story you missed, we all about Mr. Rogers. It's called, Hello Neighbor. Anyway, it's just a beautiful, really beautiful autobiography of him, the only official. And like I said, the artwork in it is done in such a simple kind of childlike manner that it made it so that you could fill in your own memories and your own imagination with how it was. And just wonderful. I'd forgotten about the band that played in all the shows because I was older. Okay, so I didn't watch it. And I could not I could only watch on Saturday. I couldn't watch TV on school nights. And so 68, I would have been 12 when it first showed. So that was probably a little older for me, but I did used to turn it my girls would watch it. And of course there was the Muppet Show, there was Sesame Street, and there was this. And for me also was Reading Rainbow with my girls. But this was still one of those whenever you did catch it, you just knew that things were good. I would love to see the one where he had Eric Carle on. Because between Mr. Rogers and the creator of, The Very Hungry Caterpillar and the entire picture book museum that's not too far from you, Miss Caroline. No, or is it in New York? It's in Albany. Never mind. It's in Albany, New York. It is farther. So, yeah. Anyway, that was the story for tonight. Go back to the beginning so you can see the cover of it once more. Who else had a television like that? Ours was not. We didn't have one that was in it. It wasn't in the living room. It was in the family room. Like I said, TV was not a big deal at our home. But the neighborhood that he created on that set was, even though I lived on a farm and didn't have neighbors quite like that, it was still that kind of aspect. The fact that every time he introduced a new thing, he added it to the model for continuity, and the trolley that took you to the neighborhood of make believe. So good. There it is. Hello, neighbor. The kind and caring world of Mr. Rogers. The authorized picture book biography. And it has, I love it, on the stamp on the front, it has King Friday the 13th in the middle of the stamp, and then with Fred Rogers holding Daniel's striped tiger, the puppet. That's so good. That's so good. Yay. Yeah, it's Mr. Rogers' song. It's You I Like. Yeah, you missed me singing it. Yes, I did. I sang it along with it. In there, yep, Caroline, I did. I was too old when he came on the air, yep. But my kids watched it. Oh, so anyway, I think what it's interesting is that as a young person, when television first came out and he saw what was happening with it, he didn't like that even from early on, the pies in the face. So he was obviously watching those early variety shows like the Red Skelton Show and all of that. So I can and things that were families would have sat around and watched at that time, that variety show supposedly being and wholesome and stuff, but still he felt that that wasn't what he wanted that he thought the television could do more for education and show a better light, especially for children. And I thought that that was really interesting that he took it to the point of going to work for NBC so he could learn the world of television, so he could create his own show. And I think that's pretty cool to have the conviction yourself of something that you believe in such a way that early on, even he got that notion and he took it to that degree. Pretty cool. Nice to see. Yeah. So that was the one book I have for tonight because I have slugs to paint. Yep. Caroline, you missed it. I'm painting slugs. Painting slugs right and left. It's slug season. My niece needs the slugs painted before the slug fest. I have to have about 30 slugs painted for back to her by March 15th so they can be sealed and ready for the Great American Slug Hunt. Yeah. I'm sure I will have more for you updates on the slugs and how it's going along. I think, I think these are not necessarily supposed to be eyes, but it's just so much fun to turn them into eyes. See, it's just when you turn them into eyeballs, they're not, some of these have matchsticks, so that doesn't work so great. But when you turn them into eyeballs in such a way, it just makes it kind of like, hello. I like that. It's fun. That one needs a pupil. That one does. I have to go back and do some touch up, but I tell you that this Caroline, you'll get a kick out. Caroline will like this. She always likes a craft thing. Caroline, this acrylic marker set by Artex, liquid ink, zero pumping. They're acrylic markers, acrylic paint markers that are a brush tip, and they no pumping, and they just go on smooth as butter. I was watching Diane Anton and she had them and she was using them, so I got some, and I'm just pleased to sponge. Then I'm not having to be okay. So the thing is, when I'm doing this, I'm oftentimes like I'm either painting them out in the outside studio, which is if I'm out there, that's fine. I have all the acrylic paint, I can make a mess and stuff, but I can also sit upstairs in the evening watching The Pit or RuPaul's Drag Race, which and all that, and catching up on all we're catching up, and paint these guys. But I can't. I'm not exactly the neatest person when it comes to this kind of things, so I don't dare have my paint, liquid paint, upstairs sitting on the couch in the living room doing this. And I'm not going to sit in grandma's rocker and do it either because I'm liable to get paint on grandma's rocker and then that would bother me. So, but I can take these up there and I can sit up there and they don't get messy. They dry so fast. I'm just, whoa. Yeah, very cool. I think I have a link in the description of this video. If not, I'll put one in. Of them because they're just super cool. Anyway, you guys, that's it. I will be back Thursday. Most likely, yes, I will be able to do a story live for you. I will be in Eugene with McLean, Rook, and Rory. So they may help me with a story. Who knows? Grandkids are that way. McLean's 10. He'll probably roll his eyes and go, really, Grandma Goo? I'm going to go read. Rook most likely will have a whole additional part to add. She's the one who likes to paint before breakfast. And Rory, well, Rory's 4. And Rory is always, who knows? Could be anything she decides to do. I'm just hoping she decides to go to bed before midnight. Yeah. Anyway, you guys, I will be back on Thursday with a story, and it will be wonderful, and it'll be good to see you. I'll be in Eugene. You guys on the East Coast, be careful, stay warm. I know you are in for a snowstorm of craziness. Um, it's just not good. My friend Melanie in New York is, yeah. So, but stay warm, take care, be safe, and I will be back for more story and art on Thursday. Tamara, stay safe. Don't stay warm. So no more fires near your place. Okay. Stay just comfortable. And thank you for being here. Thank you, Susan, Linda, Caroline, Tamara for being here. And anybody who's lurking, Lupe, if you're here in the lurking world, and Fatima, happy Ramadan. And I will see you guys Thursday. So, bucket fillers, until next time, just keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you, but the first place you'll find it is when you go look in your own mirror. I'll see you next time.